On the night before May, Beltane Eve, they say the veil grows thin. In old Celtic folklore, this wasn't just a change of season, it was a night when something crossed over. The fairy queen was said to ride out under the darkening sky on a white horse, bells ringing softly in the distance, and she didn't ride alone. Behind her came the fairy host, moving through fields, forests, and hills, looking for anyone willing or foolish enough to follow. Because Beltane wasn't just a time of life and bloom, it was a time of danger. A time when magic ran high, when the earth was alive with energy, and when stepping off the path, even once, could lead you somewhere you didn't come back from. They said if you heard bells in the night, don't follow, don't answer, and whatever you do, don't let them see you watching. Some nights the other world comes looking for you.
Hi guys, so I came on to do a Beltane video and a Beltane reading for witches. Was gonna do it yesterday, but things happen. So, I'll go with a little bit of, not showing my face today because I'm a mess. So, anyway, Beltane or Beltane is the Celtic celebration for the beginning of summer. More now modern pagans tend to emphasize fertility during this time, which and the secret union of gods and goddesses, such as the Green Man. And Beltane, let's see, yeah, okay. The sacred union of gods and goddesses, as well as dancing around a maypole in a symbolic gesture of fertility. Now, other things that they would do during Beltane is light sacred fires, and run the cattle and such through the fires. This was a druidic practice as a way to combat plagues during this time. Of course, there would be celebrations, as this is the beginning of the growing season. Man, don't have my glasses today. And then, of course, during medieval times, around the 16th century, what would happen was when the underworld aspect of Beltane began to show itself or start appearing within the celebrations, where they would leave flowers and offerings at wells, at sacred spaces, as well as under hawthorn trees, as a means of fertility. Now, sorry about that. Got to deal with the dog. And of course, this was around the 16th century. Now, much later, when it came to the celebration of Beltane, it was intertwined with what they referred to as May Day. This was more of an aspect, or May 1st. Although in the Celtic, Scottish, and Scandinavian traditions, Beltane was celebrated around the 5th and 6th of May, but then it was intertwined with May Day, or May 1st, with the English, German, and those traditions, and they became intertwined. Now, this is where the whole aspect of lovemaking, plays, games, and such were entered into the celebrations of Beltane. So Beltane was originally May 5th or 6th, and then it was kind of intertwined with the English and other traditions. Um, Now, the Scottish and Irish traditions, um, as well as the Scandinavians, who had, different types of celebrations. Now, the Catholic Church actually condemned Beltane, saying it was named after the god Baal, or the demon Baal. But historically, um, Baal was not worshipped or deified within the Irish and Celtic traditions, although Baal does have a lot of aspects connected to agriculture. Um, and in some traditions, the night before Beltane, which is called Witches' Night. Then again, of course, we get into a lot of the underworld celebrations, as well as entering with the Fae also, um, and that's of course with May Day. May 1st was where flowers and garlands and all types of those aspects were entered into it. Um, and then, of course, when it came to the English celebrations, that's again where the lovemaking and a lot of that happened. But the church condemned it. But that was just like an everyday aspect in Rome when the Roman Catholic Church entered into this. So anyway, don't have my glasses, so but that's just my uh, kind of my little short study when it comes to Beltane.
Beltane is where the earth exhales, where everything softens and begins again. You feel it in your body before you understand it.
This is sacred union, not force, not urgency, but presence meeting presence, passion and balance, where nothing is taken, only shared. Fire here does not destroy, it creates, it warms, it brings us back into ourselves. Body, earth, spirit, not separate, but one living rhythm. Welcome to Beltane.
Okay, so the decks that I used were the Wildwood Tarot. Of course, I have Shadowscape. I have Tarot of the She. I have the Moonlight Garden Tarot, Tarot of the Moonlight Garden. I have Druidcraft. I have the Healing Fairies Oracle that I used with that. I also have 2 Fairy Oracles. I don't have the bag or the boxes for them anymore. So sorry, you're going to hear the kids in the background. So I have here's the book to one of the Fairy Oracles, because I no longer have the box for this. So anyway, let's get on with the reading. Yeah, okay, I had it on the wrong page. This is, a lot to do with, the secrets and, the secrets being kept. What's done in the dark always comes into light. Beware of those that are too ambitious, because this is a lot to do with ambition. It also has a lot to do with, keeping your guard up, and patience during this time, and a lot of just kind of sitting with yourself. A lot to do with just taking that time. Of course, we have the moon here, and the moon to me, has a lot to do with a lot of lighting your path. Also, stars guide you. The moon will light your path. So you need to be patient because the moon is going to light your way. Sorry, the kids keep coming in and out, and I'm trying not to record them. Right now, you really need to focus with the Four of Wands on a strong foundation with whatever you're going into. You feel like you're out of balance, but you really need to have, that time of celebration and that strong sort of foundation. Yeah. And you also need to remember that when it comes to a lot to do here with remember that power corrupts and you can easily be corrupted by the power that you have been given. So be aware and keep that in mind. And we talked a lot again about patience and learning from your mistakes as well as learning from the mistakes of others, so that you can go a totally different direction. Also, there's going to be times, where silence is probably the more appropriate action during this time. For whatever situation, sometimes there's always a time for everything. There's also, there's a time to react, and there's a time to just sit in silence and take no action. The Ten of Cups, that has a lot to do, of course, with community, and gathering together with community. But then there's also times where you get together and kind of gather with community. Let's see, there's still, some exceptions, but understand that individually, you have to have that. When you get with community, for that, that emotional stability, you also have to find that emotional stability and that emotional regulation within yourself. You can't always rely on community to provide that for you. I mean, right now we're in Beltane and we're celebrating, but, have that balance, understanding that community, you shouldn't just rely on that community for your emotional regulation and your emotional fulfillment. You need to find those things within yourself. Now, with the Page of Cups, this is kind of the time to be outside and be in nature, and music is very healing, and with things, growing, and getting outside, and how that starts with you. And you may be struggling with just going outside and grounding and touching grass and doing that connection again with stillness. um, is also beneficial during this time. And you may be get the other card. A lot of your wishes that are, and the plans and things that you've been working toward and trying to achieve, that is going to be, working in. You really need to focus, though, too, on a lot with the cards, because this reading is just messed up today. Patting yourself on the back and giving yourself credit for those goals that you've met. But, maybe during this time also, you need to really be focusing on your third eye and divination, maybe some scrying, perhaps with fire or smoke during this time. And you also need to really work on getting your chakras aligned, especially your heart and sacral chakra, because if you notice in the card, there's not really a lot of like red and orange and yellow in here. So that's another thing, though, that you need to work on is maybe working with third eye. I mean, even though the color is represented, but the star um, between her eyes, and that's where, intuition, really, really need to focus on that right now. Um, doing exercises and such when it comes to your intuition, but you really need to get that heart and that sacral chakra aligned. And another thing with the cards was a lot about speaking your truth. Maybe it isn't just speaking your truth out loud, but speaking your truth to spirit, maybe writing a letter and burning it, because at least you spoke your truth, would be something that you might want to consider during this time. So here, whoops, here we have love heals fear, and it's the power of love can help bullies uh, and angry people to be less afraid. Um, let's see, what did I write down for that? Uh, when it comes to choices currently, there's three groups of people that always make the worst decisions. Those are scared people, angry people, and desperate people. Um, you have to have self-love when it comes to that, because um, there's going to be times and situations where you need to put yourself first, because you're dealing with a person who's probably going to make some really bad choices. And even though you can send them that loving energy, you still might want to keep your distance. When it comes to bullying, sometimes the most loving thing that we can do is call out bullying and hold it accountable. Um, the singer of intuition. So, the singer of intuition, this is a lot about you being careful when it comes to burnout, because when it comes to the song of intuition, we only get that in bits and pieces. We don't get the whole picture a lot of the time. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But when we're trying to do things so hard that we get the whole picture, that's why we need to be careful of burnout and understand that we're only getting things in bits and pieces, because that's the way that the universe has designed it. Yes, you can practice to improve things, but don't over practice when it comes to exercising, doing exercises and such to improve your intuition. But don't overdo it when it comes to that, because not a lot of us were designed to have everything all at once. But at the same time, you need to learn to not be in self-doubt when it comes to your intuition. And here we have kindness. And kindness, when we're speaking about kindness, we need to be, first and foremost, we need to be kind to ourselves. Yes, we need to be kind to others, um, especially, animals, plants, and nature. We need to be kind to others and show kindness to others, but before we have any types of reactions, again, sometimes sitting in silence and not responding to a situation um, is the best thing to do. And whatever we say or do during this time, is we need to stop and be mindful and examine the implications of what we're doing um, before we say or do anything. Um, that's also a form of kindness. But again, the most important thing is to show yourself kindness during this time. So sorry about that, guys, but the kids are in and out. And don't have my glasses. They're in the car. So, sorry about that. I'm trying to figure out camera angles and stuff and keep things stable to do better. But you only, as long as I keep practicing, hopefully I'll get improve as time goes on. So, anyway, guys, peace, love, and light. And please like, comment, and subscribe. Someone asked me a question and didn't assume, but they misunderstood when I was talking about I wasn't supposed to comment. That was a misunderstanding. What I was saying was that it doesn't bother me if people comment or not. That doesn't, I don't want people to feel obligated to comment. I appreciate the comments. I enjoy the comments. I'm grateful for the comments, but I don't want people to feel like they're obligated. I don't, I do things when I can do things, when I feel up to doing things, and I'm not going to uproot my life to accommodate any social media platform. So I'm going to do things when I do things, and I don't always post on the regular, but I'm not going to adhere to YouTube standards. I don't work that way, but again, guys, please do, but don't feel obligated to comment. That's what I was trying to say. I probably didn't articulate that in the best way. But again, guys, blessed be, blessed Beltane, and peace, love, and light. Trying to get this video done. The links has a lot to do with the unseen and intuition, as well as secrets and keepers of secrets. That's another thing. So the whole thing with the cat's eye and seeing at night, it also has a lot to do with psychic connections and psychic abilities. And of course, cats are known to be able to walk, felines, I should say, have an ability to walk between both worlds in some cultures. So this may be something you might want to consider working with. And see that as taking some time for some self-reflection, so that you can be shown certain things. And when it comes to the Knight of Cups, let me see, because I always write this stuff down. This because they also go by their